Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's interview. Guys, we were talking about what it takes to know your numbers so you can finally grow your business. And I created this series because I was seeing women entrepreneurs out there struggling every day in their business, how to leverage their team, their time, their income. So, this is your straight up resource for actionable advice and tangible tools that will help you actually grow your business. I'm your host, Lane Booth, a dashboard designer and data analyst. And if you've been in business for 5 minutes, you know data swirling all around and you might not know what to do with it all. So, as a dashboard designer, I help you know the numbers to grow your business. And I'm delighted to welcome to the stage here the lovely Carrie Wulf. Carrie, welcome and tell us a little bit about who you are and who you help.
Hi, Lane. I'm so excited to be here. So, I'm Carrie Wulf. I am the owner of Wolf Den Professional Solutions, and we work with female and female identifying business coaches, trainers, course creators, and speakers to help them know their numbers, help them track their information, and make better decisions for their business to grow and scale.
Fantastic. And I love that there's this interesting kind of turn of events, I feel like, that has happened over the last 2 years or so, where it used to be just go out, like, do all the coaching stuff, things just happen to work. But like more and more in the past 2 years, I don't know if you've noticed this also, Carrie, like people have wanted to have more certainty that what they're actually doing is truly working, that maybe they did try a new shiny object, but how do they know if it's actually working in their business right now? And I don't know of any other way to find that out except for looking at the data. What
The
did you
numbers.
think?
Yeah. I've found a lot of times that they're just kind of using, I like to call it the spaghetti model, where they throw it
Mm-hmm.
against the wall and see what sticks. And then when nothing sticks, they're not really sure why. And
Mm-hmm.
so I like to take all of their numbers from that pool of swirling data and turn it into a story and a picture that they can read and understand and know why it didn't work and why that spaghetti didn't stick to the wall and why they're seeing the results that they did.
It's so powerful because so many times I feel like the journey I see people take is that, oh, I'm a business owner. I feel like maybe I should start looking more at my numbers. And so they look at them like that one time and they're like, all right, I did
That one time I checked them.
it. Done.
Yeah. I find that a lot of times, if they look at their numbers, it's to say, yeah, I look at my numbers.
Mm,
But they don't understand their numbers. They don't understand what those numbers are telling them or how to interpret what they're saying. So you can look at your numbers all day, every day, but if you don't understand what they're saying to you, they're just a bunch of numbers on the page.
yeah, so having that storytelling aspect,
Right.
I 100% agree. Like that's the game changer for women entrepreneurs, for coaches, consultants. I mean, to be able to understand the why. I think you like you said,
Yeah.
Carrie is the game changer there, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm curious, like, Carrie, from your perspective, what have been maybe the most common challenges your clients are experiencing before they come to work with you?
Uh, a lot of them, they know their numbers are important, but they don't know which numbers are important because there can be a lot of data in your business, but not all of it makes an impact or is it necessary to even track. So that's one area they struggle is not knowing which numbers to look at. Because in fact, sometimes I had a client that was tracking all kinds of numbers, but it didn't matter because she wasn't running targeted ads to a specific demographic.
Mm,
And we were wasting a lot of man hours tracking things that didn't matter or make a difference in her business. So that's one area that I've found. Another one is they just don't know where to look.
mm,
Like even though the program they're using has reporting and you can see things, they don't know. Like it's not their zone of genius, it's not their happy place, so they don't know how or where to look for those numbers. And that's where I come in because I love to look for those numbers and run those reports and see what it's saying.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like how would you describe the difference between what you do and like what an accountant does? Because I feel like that's where people get confused at times is like, oh, is it just like looking at money in the bank or what my bookkeeper does? How
Yeah,
would you describe that?
so we can look at revenue numbers and forecasting, to make sure that they're getting them towards their revenue goals. But the avenue I like to take is people who are running events, whether it's an in-person event or a virtual 3-day thing or a virtual summit. I like to take those numbers and really get into their conversion rates, their open rates in their emails. Is their sales copy converting? Are their emails converting? If they're running an affiliate program, are those affiliates converting for them? Because what I'm finding is that a lot of times, we get to an end of an event and we didn't sell what we expected to during that event, or we didn't have the attendance numbers like we were expecting. And to get to the end of an event after 6 months of planning and work and not get that end result is very frustrating. So we're like, you're banging your head against the wall trying to figure out, well, what happened? Why didn't this work? And so what I do by taking all of those numbers and looking at all of those metrics and the data, it tells me what was working and what wasn't. If we're marketing on social media, what ads were working and what ads didn't, what posts got the most engagement and reach and what didn't. When you are tracking those numbers for an event during, in real time, it allows you to make that pivot. So if you see, after 2 or 3 weeks of emails, you're not getting those click rates that you should be. That's when we start doing some of that A/B testing and trying out different subject lines for people who didn't open and seeing if that gets a better conversion rate. And once we can really narrow in on those keywords and phrases that are getting the conversions, it allows us to adjust things in real time instead of getting to the end 6 months later and not having the result or the conversions that you wanted. So while it can be similar to what an accountant or bookkeeper looks at, we don't only look at revenue numbers. We look at a lot of different numbers.
Yeah, and I love what you called out there too, because if we want to get like number nerdy with it right now, like money is a lagging indicator. Like it happens towards the end of a process, right? Or towards the end of the effort. Whereas leading indicators, like what you're talking about, Carrie, with the email open rates, with the conversions, those are all leading indicators that are kind of like hinting at you of what your revenue is going to look like. But you have the power to change it and edit or pivot now, and you don't have the power to change, sales after they've happened, right?
Exactly. And I was working on a case study where her conversion rates for her emails, I mean, she was sending out, 10,000 emails, but her conversion rate, the highest conversion rate we got over the promotional period was 0.4%. Ouch. And that was pretty indicative of where, I mean, if we had known that at the beginning, we could have made adjustments right away. But we get to the end and realized our average click rate was 0.2%. And the conversion on the sales page for the event was, I think, 2.3%. And if we had known that, if we had seen months ago at the beginning that we weren't converting, we could have made those pivots, because when we closed underneath our must goal. Because there's your must, your goal, and your stretch. We closed well beneath that break even point. And those are things that we wouldn't have known until the end. And and it kind of stinks to get to the end of an event and know that you didn't close what you needed to, and you don't know what happened. So that case study really was an eye-opener for them, because they had no idea what the industry benchmark rates were for some of these things, or even that all the effort they were putting into it wasn't working. And so, tracking that in real time lets us pivot and make changes before it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. And such a time where launches or promotions are so vital to many small businesses and entrepreneurs. It's not something you want to roll the dice with, right? Like most people are pouring ads, they're bringing in affiliates. Like there's like a lot of effort that goes into it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and if you're running ads, chances are you have an ads manager who's monitoring that part of it. But when you're running marketing emails and you're scheduling out your social posts, who's tracking that? Who's
Mhm.
making sure that you're getting the engagement and opens that you want?
Mhm.
So it's important.
Yeah. And I'll just say as someone from experience too, it's like the things that may have resonated at your last launch that did get great opens and clicks and conversions may not
Mhm.
be the things that are going to resonate with your current audience or with your current launch or your current offer. So having that at
Right.
your fingertips every single time can be such a game changer for your.
Right. Well, and when you're tracking it over multiple events, you can start to see that history of what
Mhm.
your audience engages with best and what they don't engage with, so that it lets you really start zeroing in and tailoring your message to your audience because you've got that track record to look back at for what worked and what didn't, instead of just starting out new, trying to reinvent the wheel every time. This gives you a baseline to run off of.
Mhm. Yeah. Awesome. Well, what would you say maybe then, Carrie, is like the biggest benefit of having data-backed decisions instead of guessing with your gut in small business?
Oh, numbers don't lie. They don't. Your gut might tell you, you know what, let's run these emails because I would click on that and you would click on that. So let's just run with it. And we're going to run with it for a month. Well, if you get 2 weeks into that run with it and you can see that your open rate isn't anything and nobody's clicking, then it's time to make that adjustment.
Hmm.
So, just having that knowledge to be able to change can
Hmm.
make all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Carrie, this has been so much fun. Where can we send people that would like to learn a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so I'm on all of the social channels. Probably the easiest to find me is on Instagram, and it's
Mhm.
wolfden_PS.
All right, awesome. We'll put that link down below so you guys can connect with Carrie over on Instagram. And then, hey, if people are interested in that case study that you mentioned as well, what maybe can they like DM you or something and ask
Yeah,
more
you
about that?
can you can DM me in Instagram. I'm also going to be getting that added into my link tree. So if you go to my bio on Instagram and hit the link tree, you'll be able to get to the case study results as well.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So, well, any final thoughts or big takeaways that you would share with our audience as we wrap things up here, Carrie?
Numbers, they look scary, but the numbers can tell you more of a story than what your gut instinct can. And while it's great to trust your gut, you also need to trust the numbers and what those numbers are telling you. Because when you understand your number story, that helps you make better decisions in your business.
Absolutely. Agreed. Yeah, it's never um less informative, right? To have those numbers
Right.
in front of you, right?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Carrie, for coming and sharing
Sure.
your brilliance with us today. And folks, be sure to tune in for our next interview for more insights and resources to know your numbers and grow your business. I'm Lane. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.